Why do we dream? Why are dreams so weird? Hello, Universe Explorers, and welcome back to NK Fantastic, the channel where your curiosity gets its weekly workout. I'm your host, and today we're diving headfirst into one of the most mysterious, bizarre, and profoundly essential activities we all do, every single day: sleeping. And, of course, its wild, blockbuster spin-off, dreaming. Think about it. You spend roughly 1/3 of your entire life completely unconscious, out for the count, vulnerable, effectively offline from the world. If a biological process demanded 8 hours of your day, every day, without fail, you'd assume it must be doing something ridiculously important, right? And yet, for most of human history, we've dismissed sleep as doing nothing, a waste of time, a biological glitch we just have to put up with. Well, what if I told you that doing nothing is actually the most productive, most critical, and most complex job your brain and body perform all day? And what if I told you those bizarre dreams, the one where you're flying over a purple ocean, being chased by a giraffe who sounds suspiciously like your high school math teacher, aren't just random nonsense? What if they are, in fact, a form of overnight therapy, a high-stakes survival simulation, and your brain's personal IT department all rolled into one? Today, we are pulling back the covers on the secret life of sleep. We're going to find out why we become drooling, unconscious vegetables for 1/3 of our lives. We'll explore why those hours are non-negotiable for our survival, our memory, our sanity. And then we're venturing into the deep, weird, technicolor wilderness of the dream world. Why are dreams so strange? What do they mean? And finally, we'll count down some of the most mind-blowing, stranger-than-fiction facts about dreaming that will make you look at your pillow in a whole new light. So, grab your coziest blanket, though I hope you don't fall asleep on me just yet, as we ask, why do we need to sleep and have such weird dreams? Part 1. The non-negotiable necessity of sleep. Let's get one thing straight, right off the bat. Sleep is not optional. It's not a luxury, like a spa day. It is a fundamental, biological necessity, just like breathing, eating, and drinking water. You can survive for weeks without food. You can survive for days without water. But after just a few days of total sleep deprivation, the human mind and body begin to completely unravel. So, what is happening in this offline state that is so vital? It turns in just about everything. The brain's nightly deep clean, the Glymphatic System. Imagine your brain is a massive, bustling metropolis, like New York City or Tokyo. All day, its citizens, your neurons, are working, thinking, commuting, and producing, well, trash. Metabolic waste. Byproducts of all that mental effort. One of these byproducts is a protein called amyloid beta. That name might sound familiar, and it should. It is the protein that forms the toxic plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. All day long, this brain trash builds up in the spaces between your neurons. If it stays there, it gums up the works, causing inflammation, disrupting signals, and eventually killing brain cells. So, what does the brain do? It waits until you fall asleep. When you enter deep sleep, something incredible happens. Your brain cells, your neurons, actually shrink. They contract by as much as 60%, opening up the space between them. This triggers the Glymphatic System, a name combining glia, the brain's support cells, and the lymphatic system. Your brain floods these newly widened channels with cerebrospinal fluid, or ECSF. This fluid acts like a high-pressure sanitation crew, power washing the metabolic gunk, the amyloid beta, and all the other toxic waste out from between your neurons. This waste is flushed out of the brain, into your body's circulatory system, and eventually filtered out by your liver. This entire, elegant, essential sanitation process only happens when you are asleep. It cannot happen when you're awake, because the brain cells are too plump and the channels are too narrow. So, when you pull an all-nighter to study, you are essentially telling your brain's cleaning crew to take the night off. The trash piles up. The toxins remain. Do this night after night, and you're not just making yourself tired, you are measurably increasing your long-term risk for neurodegenerative diseases. Sleep isn't just rest. It's preventative maintenance. Sleep, the ultimate file clerk and librarian. But cleaning is only job one. Sleep is also crucial for learning, memory, and skill. Let's say you spend all day learning a new skill. Maybe it's a new song on the guitar, a complex new spreadsheet formula for work, or studying for a history exam. All that day, your brain, specifically a little seahorse-shaped region called the hippocampus, is taking in new information. It's like a temporary inbox. It's full, it's messy, and the information is fragile. You can easily forget it. Your brain's solution? Sleep on it. This isn't just a folk saying, it's a literal neurological command. When you go to sleep, your brain begins a process called memory consolidation. It's like a team of meticulous librarians coming in overnight. They go through the hippocampus's messy inbox, pick up all the important new memories and skills from the day, and carefully refile them. They strengthen the neural connections for the important stuff, that guitar chord progression, that historical fact, and move them from the temporary inbox, the hippocampus, to the long-term storage shelves, the cortex of your brain. This process locks in the learning. It's why you can struggle with a problem all evening, go to bed frustrated, and wake up in the morning and suddenly you just get it. Your brain filed it away correctly. This happens in different stages. Deep, non-REM sleep seems to be crucial for factual memory. The what, where, and who. But then, later in the night, REM sleep, the dreaming stage, comes in. REM sleep seems to be responsible for procedural memory, for how to do things, and for connecting disparate ideas. It takes that new guitar chord and links it to other chords you know. It takes that history fact and links it to other concepts you've learned. Sleep doesn't just store memories, it integrates them. It makes you not just more knowledgeable, but smarter. Want to learn a new language? Practice, then sleep. Want to master a sport? Practice, then sleep. It's the second half of the learning equation, and it's completely non-negotiable. The body's repair shop, physical restoration. Of course, it's not just your brain that's working hard. Your body is in the shop for a full-service tune-up. As soon as you fall into deep sleep, your pituitary gland gets a signal to release a powerful flood of human growth hormone, HGH. This isn't just for kids. In adults, HGH is the master repair signal. It triggers cell regeneration, protein synthesis for muscle repair, which is why athletes are obsessed with their recovery sleep, and helps heal tissues. If you've had a hard workout, a long day of physical labor, or even just a paper cut, it's during deep sleep that your body gets the memo to fix it. Simultaneously, your immune system kicks into high gear. While you sleep, your body ramps up production of T cells and cytokines, which are essentially the soldiers and intelligence officers of your immune army. They identify pathogens like viruses and bacteria and mount a targeted, robust response. This is why, when you're getting sick, your first and most powerful instinct is to sleep. Your body is literally screaming at you to get horizontal so it can manufacture the weapons it needs to fight the infection. As also why chronic sleep deprivation makes you so much more likely to catch that cold that is going around the office. Your immune defenses are down. The emotional balancer, sleep and sanity. Sleep cleans your brain, cements your memories, and heals your body. What else could it possibly do? Well, it also manages your sanity. Have you ever noticed that after a terrible night's sleep, you're not just tired, you're grumpy, you're irritable, you're emotionally fragile. A small inconvenience feels like a catastrophe. There is a very good reason for this. Deep inside your brain, you have a little almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is your brain's emotional gas pedal. It's the fight-or-flight center, responsible for strong primal emotions like fear, anger, and anxiety. It's a very reactive part of the brain. Luckily, you also have a prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain, right behind your forehead. This is the rational, logical, calm down, let's think about this part. The prefrontal cortex acts as the brake on the amygdala's gas pedal. When you are well rested, the connection between the brake, prefrontal cortex, and the gas, amygdala, is strong and healthy. Your boss sends you a slightly critical email. The amygdala screams, "We're being attacked, panic." But the prefrontal cortex steps in and says, "Hold on, let's read that again. It's just feedback. We can handle this." Now, take away a night of sleep. The prefrontal cortex, the logical adult part of your brain, effectively goes offline. It's too tired. But the amygdala, the primal emotional part, it's hyperactive. Studies show that in a sleep-deprived brain, the amygdala is up to 60% more reactive. The result? The connection is severed. You have no brake. You are all gas pedal. That same email from your boss now seems like a personal declaration of war. A person cutting you off in traffic feels like a life or death threat. You are, neurologically speaking, an emotional toddler. Sleep, particularly REM sleep, is what recalibrates this crucial connection. It cools down the amygdala and re-engages the prefrontal cortex, allowing you to face the next day as a rational, emotionally stable human being. Sleep isn't just for your body, it's for your mind. Part 2. The Weird, Wild World of Dreams. Okay, so we've established that sleep is the most important job we have. It's our cleaner, our librarian, our doctor, and our therapist. But that still doesn't explain the dreams. It doesn't explain why, during this critical maintenance period, our brains decide to create full-blown, surround sound, 4K resolution virtual reality movies that are often written and directed by a committee of lunatics. Why do we dream about our teeth falling out? Why do we fly? Why are we naked in front of our entire graduating class? What is the point of all this glorious, terrifying nonsense? Welcome to the science of dreaming, a field where we have more theories than a conspiracy convention, but where the answers are getting more fascinating every year. First, what is a dream? Most of our most vivid, bizarre, story-like dreams happen during a stage of sleep called REM, or rapid eye movement. As the name suggests, it's a phase where your eyes are darting back and forth behind your closed eyelids, as if you're watching a movie. And in a way, you are. During REM sleep, your brain is incredibly active. In fact, an EEG scan of a brain in REM sleep looks almost identical to an EEG scan of a brain that is wide awake and intensely focused. Your breathing and heart rate become irregular, and yet your body, from the neck down, is completely paralyzed. This is a safety mechanism called sleep atonia, and it's a good thing. It stops you from physically acting out your dream of fighting a dragon or winning the Olympic 100-meter dash. So, we have a hyperactive, movie-making brain and a paralyzed body. The question is, why? Theory 1. The random nonsense generator. Activation-Siynthesis. For a long time, the leading scientific theory proposed in the 1970s was the Activation-Siynthesis hypothesis. It's a bit of a cold, unromantic theory, but it goes like this. During REM sleep, your brainstem, a very primitive part of your brain, starts firing off a whole bunch of random neural signals. It's just static. It sends these random signals up to the higher, more sophisticated parts of your brain, the cortex. The cortex, the thinking part of your brain, wakes up, sees all this chaotic random data, images from your memory, fragments of emotion, snippets of sound, and does what it does best. It tries to make a story. It synthesizes this activation. So, the brainstem sends a random signal for falling. It sends a signal from the memory of your grandmother. It sends a signal of anxiety from your amygdala. The cortex receives these three things and scrambles to create a narrative. Oh my God, I'm falling off my grandmother's roof and I'm terrified. This theory beautifully explains why dreams are so weird, so disjointed, and so emotionally charged. They're not about anything. They're just your brain's best attempt to make a coherent movie out of a pile of random film clips. It's your brain's autocorrect for nonsense, gone into overdrive. It's a clean theory. But for many scientists, and frankly for most of us who have dreams, it feels a little incomplete. It explains the form of dreams, but not the content. Why do we repeatedly dream about being chased? Why do so many dreams feel so meaningful? Theory 2. The Nightly Therapist, Emotional Regulation. This brings us to a more modern and perhaps more comforting theory. It builds on what we learned about sleep and emotions. This theory suggests that dreaming is a form of overnight therapy. Remember how the sleep-deprived brain has no brake on the emotional gas pedal? Well, neuroscientist Matthew Walker, a leading sleep expert, proposes that REM sleep, the dreaming stage, is what repairs this. Here's the idea. During the day, you have an emotional experience. Let's say it's a stressful argument with your boss. You now have a memory of this event, and it's tightly bound to a strong negative emotion, anxiety, anger, fear. You go to sleep. You enter REM. Your brain replays the memory of that argument. But here's the magic trick. During REM sleep, your brain is almost completely devoid of the stress-related chemical, noradrenaline. It's the only time, day or night, that this happens. By replaying the emotional memory without the chemical bath of stress, your brain effectively strips the painful emotion away from the memory itself. You wake up the next day. You still remember the argument, but it doesn't sting anymore. The emotional charge is gone. You've processed it. You've slept it off. REM sleep, in this model, is a safe, virtual reality space where your brain can reprocess difficult emotional experiences, filing them away as lessons learned, rather than fresh trauma. So, why are these dreams so weird? Because the brain isn't just replaying the event, it's connecting it. To find a solution, or to neutralize the feeling, it's digging through your entire memory library, pulling out old memories, unrelated concepts, and strange symbols, all in an effort to diffuse the emotional bomb. The weirdness is the therapy. Theory 3. The Danger Simulator, Threat Rehearsal. This is one of my personal favorites. It's an evolutionary theory proposed by Finnish philosopher Antti Revonsuo. It's called the Threat Rehearsal Theory. The idea is simple. The ancestral world was a very, very dangerous place. You could be attacked by a predator, fall from a height, or get into a violent confrontation with a rival. The ability to survive these events was paramount. This theory proposes that the brain evolved dreaming as a virtual reality simulator. Its primary job, for millennia, was to rehearse these high-stakes, life-or-death scenarios. Think about the most common negative dreams. What are they? Being chased, falling, being attacked, being unprepared for a major event, the test you didn't study for dream. Losing your teeth, a symbolic representation of losing your ability to survive, your health, or your bite. These are all simulations of ancestral threats. The threat rehearsal. Theory suggests that every night your brain runs hundreds of these fight-or-flight simulations. By facing a virtual lion in your dream, you get to practice the emotional and, in your brain, the physical response without the risk of actually being eaten. This makes you, in theory, slightly faster, slightly smarter, and more prepared if you face a real threat the next day. The people whose brains were good at running these simulations were more likely to survive, pass on their genes, and create, well, us. We are the descendants of the best dream simulators. It explains why so many dreams are anxiety-ridden and negative. They're not a bug, they're a feature. They're your brain's nightly boot camp. Theory 4. The Creative Genius, problem solving. Let's combine a few of these ideas. We have the Activation-Siynthesis model, which says the brain is connecting random things. We have the memory consolidation model, which says the brain is filing away the day's events. What happens when you combine those? You get the problem-solving theory. During REM sleep, your brain isn't just filing memories away in their neat, logical ABC folders. The prefrontal cortex, the logical CEO, is dampened. This means the brain is free to make illogical connections. It can connect folder A to folder Z. It can take the problem you were working on today and connect it to a random memory from 10 years ago, and then connect that to a song you heard on the radio. This sounds like chaos, but sometimes chaos is exactly what creativity needs. This hyper-associative state is the perfect breeding ground for out-of-the-box thinking. There are countless examples of this. The German chemist August Kekulé famously discovered the ring structure of the benzene molecule, a problem that had stumped scientists after a dream of a snake eating its own tail. Mary Shelley was inspired to write Frankenstein after a waking dream, following a night of discussing ghost stories. Paul McCartney has said the entire melody for the song, "Yesterday, came to him in a dream." These people didn't magically receive an answer from the heavens. Their brains, during sleep, were simply working on the problem in the background, freed from the rigid constraints of wakeful logic. They were connecting the dots in ways they never could have while awake. So, your dreams aren't just nonsense. They might be your brain's most creative, innovative, problem-solving state. The weirdness is the sound of your inner genius at play. Part 3. Top 10 Mind-Bending Facts About Dreams. We've explored the why. Now, let's get into the what. The world of sleep and dreams is so bizarre that the facts alone sound like fiction. Here are some of my all-time favorite, absolutely true, mind-bending facts about this nightly phenomenon. Fact 1. You forget 90% of your dreams. You might wake up thinking you had no dreams last night. You are completely wrong. You had hours of them. Within just 5 minutes of waking up, the average person has forgotten 50% of their dream. Within 10 minutes, 90% is gone. The details evaporate like mist. Why? It's likely that the brain's save function, the neurotransmitter systems that write things to long-term memory, are just not as active during REM. Dreams are meant to be experienced, not necessarily remembered. Fact 2. Blind people dream. 2. Dreams are not just visual. People who have been blind since birth have dreams that are just as complex and vivid as a sighted person use, but they are constructed from their other senses: sound, touch, smell, taste, and emotion. People who became blind later in life may continue to have visual dreams, but they tend to fade over time as their brain rewires to prioritize other sensory input. It is a powerful reminder that seeing in a dream is an act of the brain, not the eyes. Fact 3. You are paralyzed, and that's a good thing. I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth repeating. During REM sleep, your brainstem sends a signal to your spinal cord that actively inhibits your motor neurons. This is called REM atonia. You are, quite literally, paralyzed from the neck down. This is an absolutely critical safety feature. Without it, you would physically act out every one of your dreams. You would be running into walls, punching your pillow or your partner, and potentially leaping out of bed. When this system fails, it results in a condition called REM sleep behavior disorder, and it's exactly as chaotic as it sounds. Fact 4. Not everyone dreams in color. This is a strange one. Studies suggest that a small percentage of the population, about 12%, dream exclusively in black and white. Interestingly, studies from the mid-20th century showed much higher percentages of black and white dreamers. What changed? One popular theory is the television. People who grew up with black and white television were more likely to report black and white dreams. As color media became the norm, our dreams caught up. This suggests our dreams are, in part, built from the media and visual language we consume while awake. Fact 5. Animals almost certainly dream. If you've ever seen a dog's paws twitching while it sleeps, or heard a cat chirp in its basket, you've likely seen an animal dreaming. Scientists have studied the brain activity of many mammals during sleep, from rats to cats to monkeys. What they've found is a REM stage that is strikingly similar to our own, right down to the brainwave patterns. And muscle paralysis, or in the case of a dog's paws, the breakthrough twitches. What do they dream about? Well, a famous MIT study suggested that rats dream about the mazes they ran earlier that day. So, your dog is almost certainly dreaming about chasing rabbits, getting belly rubs, or that delicious snack you dropped on the floor. Fact 6. You can control your dreams. Lucid dreaming. This is not science fiction. It's a state called lucid dreaming. This is the phenomenon of being aware that you are dreaming, while you are still in the dream. For most people, this is a fleeting, accidental thing. You suddenly realize, wait, this is impossible. I must be dreaming. And then you wake up. But for experienced lucid dreamers, this is just the beginning. Once you know you're dreaming, you can often take control. You can choose to fly, to conjure objects, or to face down a nightmare creature. It's a skill that can be trained, and it turns your dream world into the ultimate virtual reality sandbox. Fact 7. Sleep paralysis is the waking nightmare that inspired monsters. This is the terrifying flip side of REM atonia. Sleep paralysis is what happens when your brain wakes up, but your body doesn't. You are consciously aware, your eyes are open, but you are still fully paralyzed. You cannot move. You cannot speak. To make matters worse, the dreaming, storytelling part of your brain is often still active, leading to vivid, terrifying hallucinations. People commonly report a sense of presence in the room, a dark figure or intruder standing over them, or a heavy weight crushing their chest. It is, by all accounts, one of the most terrifying experiences a human can have. It's no wonder that this one neurological glitch is believed to be the root of countless cultural myths about night hags, shadow people, and even alien abduction stories. Fact 8. Recurring dreams are probably a memo from your brain. Have that same dream of being in your childhood home or missing a final exam over and over? Most dream experts believe recurring dreams are not random. They are a sign of a persistent, unresolved conflict or stress in your waking life. That unprepared for the test dream isn't really about school. It's about feeling unprepared or judged in your current job or relationship. The dream will likely keep repeating until you identify and address the underlying real-world anxiety. It's your brain's very annoying, very symbolic to-do list. Fact 9. Your dreams can hear and feel the real world. Ever had a dream where a phone is ringing and it keeps ringing and ringing, and then you wake up and realize it's your alarm clock? Your brain is remarkably adept at weaving external, real-world stimuli into your dream narrative. If someone sprays water on your face while you're in REM, you might dream of walking through a rainstorm. If a car alarm goes off outside, it might become the siren in your being chased dream. Your dreaming brain is not fully cut off. It's just listening in on a very strange, muted party line. Fact 10. Dreams can give you false memories. This is a truly unsettling one. Because dreams feel so real, and because they use the same memory filing systems as your waking life, it is possible for your brain to misfile a dream. You can wake up with a dream memory that feels so vivid, so plausible, that you're not sure if it actually happened or not. This is called dream-reality confusion. Did you really have that awkward conversation with your friend? Or did you just dream it? For most of us, it's a rare and confusing occurrence, but it highlights just how powerful the brain's world-building capabilities are. Conclusion: embrace the mystery. So we return to the beginning. We spend 1/3 of our lives in this other world, a world where our brains are simultaneously our cleaning crew, our librarians, our therapists, and our most unhinged movie directors. We have learned that sleep is not a passive void, but an intensely active, critically important state of repair, consolidation, and recalibration. To sacrifice sleep is to sacrifice your memory, your health, your immune system, and your emotional sanity. It is, quite simply, the foundation upon which your entire waking life is built. And your dreams? They are not just dreams. They are not meaningless static. They are your brain's way of healing you by stripping the pain from your memories. They are your brain's way of protecting you by running simulations of your deepest fears. They are your brain's way of inspiring you by connecting ideas in ways your conscious mind never would. We may not have one single, perfect answer to why dreams are the way they are, but the truth is likely a combination of all these theories. A beautiful, complex, and deeply personal process. So, tonight, when your head hits the pillow, don't think of it as wasting time. Think of it as plugging in for your nightly software update. And when you wake up, with the faint, bizarre memory of a flying giraffe or a lost tooth nightmare, maybe just take a second to say, thanks. Your brain was just working its weird, wonderful magic, all for you. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the night. Stay curious, sleep well, and as always, keep exploring. I'll see you next time on NK Fantastic.